I'm Dr. Abdelaziz Jawar. Can I please have your name and ID?
Amar 1134.
Okay, Mr. Amar, today I'm going to be performing a thyroid examination on you, where I'll be palpating your neck, inspecting it, and auscultating it, along with percussing your sternum. Is that fine with you?
Sure.
I've already washed my hands. I have my trusty stethoscope at the ready. Please make yourself comfortable and uncover your neck, please. So I'll first begin with inspecting the neck. I'll be looking for any asymmetry, any prominent veins, any surgical scars, any redness, swelling, or any evident masses, which thankfully there seem to be none. Now, Mr. Amar, I'd like you to have a sip of water. So while I was swallowing the water, I was looking for the movement of the thyroid gland, the thyroid cartilage, cricoid cartilage, and the lymph nodes, which should all move when swallowing. And if he had a thyroglossal cyst, it should also move, but thankfully he doesn't. Now I'll be moving on to the palpation. It shouldn't be uncomfortable, but if you feel any discomfort, please tell me.
All right.
So I'll begin with palpating the anterior triangle of your neck, looking for any masses, and also the posterior triangle. Thankfully there aren't any masses. If I had found one, I'd comment on its location, its size, its shape, its tenderness, mobility, and any surface features. Now I'll be moving on to palpating your thyroid gland, beginning from your Adam's apple, which is the thyroid cartilage. I'll be moving down slowly until I feel a bump, which is your cricoid cartilage. Yeah, here it is. So directly under your cricoid cartilage is the isthmus of the thyroid gland, and of course next to it is the lobes. So I'll steady my hand while palpating your right lobe so as to not simply move the thyroid gland away. Its size seems to be normal, its shape seems to be normal, and I'll also go to the other one, normal tenderness, mobility, they have the same symmetry, and also the same consistency, so everything is good. Now I'll be moving on to palpating your cervical lymph nodes, beginning with the parotid lymph nodes, then moving on to the preauricular. I should also do this on both sides, but for the sake of time, I'm just going to do it on one. Then moving to the postauricular lymph node, the occipital lymph node, which is on the back of the head. And then I'll be moving on to the submental lymph node, which is under the tongue, the submandibular lymph node. We also have the tracheal lymph node, which is between the parotid and the submandibular. Then we have the anterior cervical lymph node, and also the posterior cervical lymph node. And finally, we'll be moving on to the supraclavicular lymph nodes. And everything seems to be completely fine. So finally, for palpation, I'll be checking you for tracheal deviation. So if you don't mind, I'll be putting my index and ring fingers on each respective head of the clavicle, like so. And using my middle finger, I'll be touching the trachea, making sure it's in the midline, which it should normally be right there. And luckily for you, it is. So now I'll be moving on to percussing the sternum. This also shouldn't be painful. And the manubrium. So of course, if I hear a shift from dullness to resonance, that could indicate a retrosternal goiter, but it's all completely dull. So now, finally, I'll be moving on to the auscultation. I'll be moving on to auscultation. I'll auscultate each lobe of your thyroid gland to check for any bruit. So, same path I took before. I feel the bump and it's right under it. So on the side, this is your right lobe. Okay, it's fine. And now onto your left lobe. It's also completely fine. So thank you for your time, Mr. Amar. Everything seems to be fine. Are you comfortable?
Yeah.
Do you have any questions?
I'm good.
Okay, I'll be dispose of the materials. You can keep the water for being a model patient. And now I'll wash my hands and document the procedure.